Welcome to the Private Practice Startup Podcast, where we help ambitious private practitioners across the globe to brand themselves and grow their dream practices. We chat with successful private practitioners, business coaches, and marketing experts, bringing you tons of practice building ninja tips. Visit privatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and our signature marketing e-course. Here are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Hey there, Startup Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. We are so glad that you guys are joining us. And, you know, times are different and trying and a little odd and weird. And so we have obviously abandoned our regularly scheduled podcast to bring you topics that are related to where you are now in business during the COVID crisis. So our guest, Jane Carter, today, she has been on our podcast previously, episode 126, talking about 3 fears holding you back. We'll make sure that we pop that in the show notes. But before we dive into today's topic, we had Marissa Lawton with us last week, and Marissa was really passionate about helping therapists pivot and identify other non-clinical ways to gain income during this time. So I'm sure that a lot of you have been feeling that and wondering, and what should I do now? So we go ahead and talk about that. So you want to make sure that you listen to that podcast previously. So a little bit about Jane. Jane believes that a thriving business is life-giving, both for the client and the business owner. She's a business coach, super funny. That's my add-in, who helps therapists and other helpers have more fun, money, and freedom in their practices. But before we do get to the topic today, which is helping your business survive and thrive through a crisis, the light at the middle of the tunnel. You're probably like, what is that? Well, we're going to get to that shortly. But before we do that, if you are brand new to us, we wanted to say welcome for coming and landing on our podcast. And we hope that you stay part of our Startup Nation family. We're honored that you're here. And if you are a loyal Startup Nation tribe member, we so appreciate you coming back. For our new listeners, we have a gift for you. That's our A to Z cheat sheet, the essentials for building and growing your dream practice. Head over to privatepracticestartup.com, head on over to the resources tab, and there you will see the A to Z cheat sheet. And that does come with 5 days of practice building emails. I almost said 4, but it is 5 days. So that will really help jumpstart your practice. And before we dive in, let's just take a quick moment for our sponsor. When you're in private practice, it can be tough to find the time to review your marketing efforts and make improvements where needed. Whether you're a seasoned clinician whose current website needs to be revamped or a new therapist building a website for the first time, Brighter Vision is here to help. By first understanding your practice and what makes it unique, Brighter Vision's team of developers will create you a custom website catered to your specific marketing goals. Better yet, they provide unlimited tech support to make sure it stays updated and professional search engine optimization to make sure you rank high in online searches, all at no additional cost. To get started for $100 off, head to brightervision.com/PPS. Again, that's brightervision.com/PPS.
There are so many ways to keep your practice organized, but Therapy Notes is by far the best. Their easy-to-use, secure platform lets you not only do billing, scheduling, and progress notes, but also create a client portal to share documents and request signatures. Plus, they offer amazing unlimited phone support. So when you have a question, they're there so you can get help fast. Get started with Therapy Notes today, trusted by over 60,000 professionals. Go to therapynotes.com and enter promo code PPS, as in Private Practice Startup, and you'll get 2 months for free. Also, you can listen to episode 54, where we interviewed Brad Pliner and took an in-depth view into their EHR.
Welcome, Jane.
Hey, I'm so glad to be back. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back.
Thanks for reaching out and putting your hand up and saying, hey, I got a topic.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, what a strange time we're in. And I was ready to share what I could. I'm full of metaphors, so.
I know you were really excited as you were creating the title, and you're like, oh, and this and that. And so I'm excited about today.
I always start getting this flood of metaphors, hashtag I'm a therapist. So, yeah.
Go ahead. You're the queen of metaphors, the queen of puns, all sorts of fun things up your sleeve.
Who knows what I'll come up with the next time I'm on. So, yeah.
So what inspired the topic for today's title, besides what's happening, besides the audience?
Yeah. Well, As y'all know, I live in the mountains of North Carolina, and we have these beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains, and there's the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is this gorgeous road that kind of goes along the mountain ridge line, through from like Georgia through Virginia. And as you're driving along there in awe of these beautiful views, periodically there are these tunnels that you go through, and suddenly it goes from glorious view to just total darkness. And it's such a contrast. And I heard someone use the phrase, the light at the middle of the tunnel. It's an author I like, Priya Parker. And I went, ooh, that's where we are right now. We are going through this tunnel. It's kind of everything suddenly changed. We don't know what's on the other side. We're in one of those long tunnels where there might be that little pinprick of light. We're not sure. We're hoping it's not a train coming at us. And it just got me to thinking about where we are and how the middle of the tunnel matters. It's so easy right now to focus on when are we going to get through it? When is this going to be over? When are we going to get through this? But what we do now really matters. And even when we get through this particular challenge, there's always going to be another challenge because we're business owners and that's what we do, right? We get through challenges. So I just kept thinking about, how, when you're in a tunnel, a dark tunnel, and you don't know what's going to happen next, you turn on the lights, so how can we bring some meaning into this particular moment?
I got goosebumps as you were talking. Yeah, I got goosebumps as you were talking. And I feel like, I know our listeners are really going to be interested in this topic, but I feel like it's especially for me today. I was joking with Katie earlier when we were on our meeting. I feel like I've been in a quarantine funk for the past week. We've been quarantining for 6 weeks. And for me in particular, I just had a baby. And so I'm coming off of maternity leave. So I've really been quarantining you guys since December. And here we are at the end of April. And it's been a long road. I don't know where the end of the tunnel is. I'm definitely in the dark middle of the tunnel. So I'm excited for you to shed some light on the topic. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've really been coming into the time where this is starting to get really hard for people. And one of the first things I thought about, I talk to people a lot about their mindset. And when you go into one of these tunnels, you want to get your mindset straight. So we're in this tunnel. We really need to dig into our mindset work as private practitioners. So if I go into a tunnel and suddenly I turn on the lights, but I also do the windshield wipers and I turn on the blinker and I crank up the radio and turn on the inside light, that wouldn't be great, right? That's just distraction. What a lot of people have done is they're panicking because we have all these uncertainties and they're like, just give me tactics, give me marketing tactics. How do I keep my practice full? And that's the equivalent of like flipping on all the gadgets in your car, right? But that's not what you need to do. The first thing we need to do is slow down and get super clear. And, that might be, so to keep the metaphor going, I'm going to just turn on my headlights and maybe turn down the radio. As a private practitioner, this is a really important time to get clear on who do you want to be while we're in this tunnel. When we do come through on the other side, how do you want to have conducted yourself? Do you want to be the person who freaked out and started honking the horn and freaking everyone else out? No. Or who started tailgating the car in front of you? So decide who you want to be. This is a really good time to get super clear on your purpose. And just to remember, why do we do this work? What do we love about this work? How can we actually very much enjoy being, a source of support for our clients right now and digging into the work in a really meaningful way. And also in terms of mindset, it's actually a time to figure out what distractions and tolerations we need to let go of.
Nice.
I've talked to clients who realize, with the way things, they're at home, they're doing telehealth, and they've realized, I don't want to do evening appointments anymore. Or I like this thing where I'm only working 3 days a week instead of 4 or 5. So in the same way that I'm like turning off the gadgets when I'm in a dark tunnel, what do you need to let go of? Let this be a time to sort of clear some of that away.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that's so important. And it's very interesting. Like, we can go through crisis on our own personally, but we're all in the same moment. And, I kind of think of it like as like a pressure cooker. When we had Carrie Nola on, she talked about it like being the orange and just like everything being squeezed out. So what's not working already really illuminates itself. And it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us saying like, this is not working. This is not who I want to be. Like, I love that you say that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the counterintuitive piece is that actually doing that part, doing the mindset piece, I think makes it much more likely that the marketing we do is going to be more effective.
I feel like I need to say amen to that. That was just like, I was like, let me stand up and say amen to that, because the reality, and it's funny. So Kate and I, we just put on a live masterclass that I held on Friday, and it was really interesting. We're kind of polling the audience of some of the things that they would like to see during this time. And like mindset stuff was the last, right? And what we know though is mindset is about 80% of our business success.
Yes.
Right. And it's just more essential. And I think, one of the things that people do, especially early in business or when things aren't working, right, is we do all the things that you're saying, is flip on the lights, turn the radio up, yell at our passenger or our co-pilot. This is not working. Just tell me what to do. Go right. No. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're just trying to do all the things. And what they do is really just exhaust us and make us more in like a panic and a tizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Well, so the next thing that I was thinking about, when I'm going through a dark tunnel, where it's feeling a little scary. And the other piece is when you're in these tunnels, you realize, oh, I'm underneath a mountain. Like, this could fall on me. It feels a little scary, right? And so the temptation to sort of panic or just stop the car or slow way down or to drive way too fast is there. But anyway, I'm overdoing the metaphor. No matter what happens, keep moving forward. So even if you've lost some clients, for the clients you do have, do excellent work. Really focus on doing the best that you can for them. In the time that you aren't seeing clients, find ways to serve people. Find ways to give away your expertise for free. And hint, that is your marketing. So whether you're getting on Instagram and doing little videos, sharing information, or doing YouTube videos, or writing, keep moving, and it keeps your confidence up. That's the secret, is that the more we're actually doing the work, the more we're actually keeping our own confidence up and feeling less fearful, because we're coming from a place of service. And it also, again, this mindset piece keeps our heads clear to be able to shift things. I'm trying not to use the word pivot as much, because I used it about 1,000 times the first week of all this. But you may need to use that space to think about, all right, do I need to reach out to more people in my state now that I'm doing telehealth and the entire state has just opened up to me, or do I need to work on doubling down on my marketing and doing a little more than I normally would to get the same results? Or do I just need to niche down a little bit more? Again, don't go into frenetic activity, but just keep moving forward, even if you've slowed down. Because I think we've all slowed down. I don't know. I know I've slowed down. I realize my energy level is just not what it normally is. And I suspect y'all have experienced some of that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, this whole situation, we're dealing with our own emotional responses and reactions to the climate of everything that's happened and all of the fears and the unknowns. And I know Katie and I both have multiple businesses too. And so it's really hard to figure out how to navigate that, how to navigate working from home with school-aged kids, how to be the teacher, how to be the housekeeper, how to be the chef, how to be the wife, the partner, the mom, the dad. It's just so overwhelming for all of that. And so it takes a lot of energy emotionally on top of all of the ways that we need to be there to show up for the people in our life and clients and coaches and all of that. It's a lot of energy expending stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot. I've been with clients, I've been hearing myself say B- is the new A+ a lot, or even like C is the new A+.
I love it.
that, again, if you're just moving forward, even just a little bit, just keep the forward movement, but don't have those hugely high expectations of yourself because you're in a limited situation right now. We're in a tunnel under a mountain right now, and we don't know how long it's going to be. And the other piece, so this is my third point. I wrote tunnel vision, and then I wrote tunnel, vision. Ooh. Like the vision that comes with the tunnel. And what I mean by that, so when you're driving, and by the way, y'all have to come up to Asheville sometime, and we'll go drive through these tunnels on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
And video them as we're driving through.
Yes. So what happens is, especially with the long ones, when you've been in there for a while and you kind of turn around the curve and you come out, and suddenly everything is so bright and everything is so much more vivid than it was when you'd been sort of on the road for half an hour. Okay, yeah, they're the mountains, they're beautiful. But now that you've been in the dark, the mountains are just stunning. You're just like, whoa, and everything's really bright, and you're putting on your sunglasses and you're just kind of blown away. And so the way I'm going to connect that to what we're dealing with now is we're in this kind of unknown place. We're in the middle of this tunnel. The things you do now can mean that later on, when your business is coming back to somewhat normal, your business really could just go gangbusters. It could be so much better and on such a better track once, later on. And so again, this time really matters. And again, I don't mean frenetic activity. What I mean is, spending this time to reflect on your purpose, but also spending time deepening your relationships. So whether that's with your family, but also with your colleagues, with your referral sources, practicing what one coach called extreme client care. I loved that. Just really reaching out to your clients. How are you doing? Making sure that if they need to hear from you, they're just getting that extra care from you. It can mean using this time to create some content, but again, no pressure. But also it's a really good time to deepen your skills, whether that's going back and reading, books or watching webinars to become a better clinician, or whether it's using this time to really work on your practice and work on being a really good business person. It's a really rich time to go deep. And again, later on, when you come out of the proverbial tunnel, you're going to be blown away by the richness that you've just created. So.
And one thing that I think of, Jane, as you talk about really the tunnel metaphor, is when we go through a tunnel, we know that the only thing to do is to keep driving, right? Mm-hmm. And whether we see the end of the tunnel or not, we just keep driving. We don't question it. Right. Like, so we keep moving one step forward, and then the light begins to seep in, and we know exactly where we're going in the direction, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. Right. And so, in this time, I think there is a lot of uncertainty, but what we do know, and I don't know what you guys believe, but really just like having faith that obviously we will get through this. Like that's a reality. That's going to happen. Yes. You know what I mean? On some level. And the possibility of it being, like you said, bigger, brighter is totally possible. And I think, the importance of connecting with our own beingness. You know what I mean? I know that there's been a place like, there's the franticness of like, what do? I got to keep clients, but I know so there's a franticness of like finances and stuff like that, and it's like, well, I'm working and I am seeing clients and my practice is full, but this is not what I want to be doing. Right. This is too much. So how are you being in that place as well? And what is your self-care? And I think that's just so important. I know for me early on in all of this, when everything happened, we were in the place of frantic, right? Because there's fear and we don't know what to expect and we want to really serve Startup Nation. So we were, doing podcasts and webinars and like I was on the computer on videos, something or other, telehealth or webinar podcast, like 9 hours, 2 days in a row. And it affected me. Like it affected my neck so much that I had to go to the doctor. And I literally at some point, cause then the doctor's like, well, I suggest you stop doing what you're doing. What? No, I gotta work, right? Like that's impossible. But it kept getting worse. And then I just took a 3-day step back of like no computer and began to like reset myself. And I noticed what's happened since like last week is, my conversations with Kate, and she's been going through her own thing as she shares over there, but coming from a place of inspired action, right? And taking those actions, and that they're easy, right? They're effortless. And so when you talk about like the marketing that really just kind of oozes out of you because it's just a joy, like that's a beautiful place to be, right?
Yeah.
And I think about as we go through the tunnel and enter, out of the tunnel, like that feeling of the magnificence, right? And I think it's important is to remind ourselves like where we are, right? And not fall default pattern. And I'm speaking to myself right now because I do it by default.
Speaking to me too.
Yeah. And really just being aware of what it is that we're doing now that we enjoy and that we love, and how can we make that the reality of our life,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you gave me chills as you were saying that. This really could be a precious time. Like this is, if anything, it's training for all the future crises we're going to go through as business owners, right? Or just as humans, right? And so if we're really learning how to just be present with it, there's this one tunnel in particular that I actually kind of love it. It's really long, but I'll really hear the music that I'm hearing in my car. And I really kind of just go into this Zen place when I'm going through it, right? And if we're able to just get better at, okay, there's some chaos out there, there's some unknown, but can I just be present in this moment and maybe even enjoy where I am in here? There's such richness on the other side of that. I found myself reading more poetry recently, and it's coming from this place of joy, but then I'm like, oh, this is going to make me such a better therapist. It's giving me this beautiful, like just the language and the naming of those feelings and the naming of that experience. This is a time, and I'm not a poet, so this is gonna I'm trying to think how to.
You're a pun master.
Oh, okay. As a an actual mystic, he was a monk I knew in college, but he said he would talk about penetrating the inner suchness of things. Whew.
Interesting.
Yeah, like this is a time to really like go in there and really contemplate things.
Sounds like gooey honey or nectar.
Yeah.
Penetrating the inner suchness, is that
the inner suchness of things, like really just being in it and really contemplating things instead of always, again, we're so addicted to activity, especially when a crisis first hits. Mm-hmm. And now that the adrenaline's wearing off and we're all tired, this could be a real gift this time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting as you're talking about the Blue Ridge Parkway. So when we did come to Asheville, you were actually on a different trip, so we didn't get to meet you face to face. But Kate and I did take a ride along the Blue Ridge Parkway, and Kate had lived in North Carolina, and it was beautiful. I don't think we went through any tunnels at that point.
We did.
Did we?
We did. We went through tunnels, and I think we have a picture that you had taken as we were coming up to the tunnel.
Yes.
It's a really cool picture. I had that in my mind as Jane was walking us through the vision of the tunnel vision, right? And actually, when we came up to visit Asheville, Jane was actually out of town, but she was our virtual tour guide because she gave us the ins and outs and all of these recommendations for an amazing Asheville experience. And I'm actually from North Carolina. I lived there for 14 years, and I've been to Asheville, probably at least 12, maybe 15 times. I love it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful place. Mm-hmm. And so many different seasons of the year. Mm-hmm. And next time we make it up there, we are definitely going to hang out in person.
Yeah. So it will absolutely have to happen.
Yeah. And when we were driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway, is we would stop and take pictures and just admire the sunset. And we were in that beingness, you know what I mean? And how important that is. So I know that I think we saved our pictures, Kate. It's probably in the drive somewhere. Maybe we'll put together a little like photo collage and put it on the show notes page. And maybe Jane will send us some pictures from the Blue Ridge Parkway too.
Yeah. I'd love to. I'd love to see your picture.
Yeah.
We'll share it with you for sure.
Awesome. Jane, what do you hope that people take away from your message today?
I really hope that it's a good guiding image. I want people to use this time to be present. I always say that as a business coach, I don't just want people to, get more clients and money. I really want them to love who they are in their business. Mm-hmm. And I think that this could be a time for that, to really get clear on who you are, and to really enjoy who you are and really figure out, how do I want to bring that into my business moving forward? So just be in the tunnel. We're here. We're all here together. Let's just be in this. Nice. And we'll be okay.
Nice. And I know that you actually have a giveaway for our audience. What is that?
I do. It is called the Business Survive and Thrive Checklist. It was something when my adrenaline was pumping and I was like, I've got to create something to help people. But basically, I just wanted to make a very simple list of things that people could be doing to use this time well, including the mindset side. So including how do you use this time to also be kind to yourself, to not overwork yourself, that kind of thing. So I wanted to include a little strategy and a little mindset. So yeah, I'm happy to give that away to people so they can put it up on their wall somewhere and keep moving through that tunnel.
Awesome. And we'll put that on the show notes page so you guys could grab that. And Startup Nation, thanks so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed Jane's metaphor of where we are at in our crisis. And really, it's really about life. So we hope that you guys join us next time. And like I've shared before, if you've been listening to our podcast the last few weeks, we're not really sure what's going to happen next week because we don't know where we'll be at and what topic will be most important to you guys. So again, just really looking to serve what is the most important. And Startup Nation, if you like this podcast and it's been really helpful to you, you might want to share it with a friend and let them know that maybe, hey, you're in the car next to them driving through the tunnel, 6 feet away, or maybe you're on the roof. I don't know. Social distancing. You're in the metaphoric tunnel. So we would love that you share that with a friend or colleague. And if you're really loving our podcast, always the best way just to let us know is you could drop us an email. You can do a review. It always inspires us and really makes us smile when you guys send us your love. So Startup Nation, we hope you have an awesome and inspired day. Take care, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.